online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at ubnradio.com.
Welcome to Life by the Numbers with celebrity numerologist Michelle Arbeau, broadcast on UBN Radio from the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood. Exploring topics of spiritual growth, current affairs, celebrity news, and more through the lens of numbers. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
To another episode of Life by the Numbers with celebrity numerologist Michelle Arbeau, which is moi, and I've got a very special guest with me today who is, like last week, of course, I had one of my favorite people, but this is the female version of my favorite person, Miss Carrie White. Carrie, I love you so much. You are a shining star to me. You are such an inspiration. And I think of you often, and you're one of the reasons why I'm here in LA, so thank you for that. Thank you for being who you are. And we're going to talk about Carrie today because Carrie has such an inspirational story. She has an awesome book. I mean, awesome. If you haven't read it, you got to get a copy because I started reading it. And I usually don't have a lot of patience for reading longer books, but I couldn't put it down. So we're going to talk about her book. We're going to talk about her life and all kinds of stuff. So, Carrie, I'm going to do a few segments first. I'm going to do some number segments. I'm going to get you to help me with some of that stuff. And
Lovely.
Some of it's about celebrity stuff. So we're going to spend about 10 or 15 minutes on that, and then we'll go into your stuff. So first I want to tell my story that just happened. So I was late for my own show yet again. They're going to revoke my California license that I just got because when it comes to parking, I suck. And if I can't find a space that's big enough, I mean, there were some spaces out there, but I thought, I'm not driving one of those, what do you call it, those little Fiats.
Smart cars.
I'm like, I'm not even going to attempt that one. So I thought, I'll just turn around. And I've got another, 10 minutes or so I can turn around. So I went up to the lights, went to turn around, and then I got stuck at two lights that didn't have turning, left turn lights. So I sat through one light twice, and then the next one, it just felt like eternity. So Tony's the, I guess, a co-owner of this station, and I called him. I said, Tony, I can't find parking. So he came out and saved me. And lo and behold, I pull up, and Tony's there, and there's a parking space right in front of him. So I look kind of silly. So anyway, now I'm trying to calm myself, wipe the sweat from my brow, so we can get started on this. So let's go into the celebrity stuff. So, Carrie, I was looking at, I think it was Yahoo News or something, and Johnny Depp came up. And he's not really in the news right now other than his new love interest or something. But I thought, Johnny Depp, he's a weird one. So I thought, let's just take a look at his date of birth. And do you like Johnny Depp?
I love him.
Yeah. He's quirky, he's weird, he's, all that stuff that is intriguing about a celebrity. So I looked at his date of birth and I was like, wow, because he has all of his eggs up in the mind plane basket, a whopping amount, and nothing on the soul plane. Absolutely nothing. So he's got this brilliant mind and no soul protection or hypersensitive on the soul plane. So that really explains why he's so quirky, I think. Why he's so, off the beaten trail, don't you think?
Can I interview once, and he said he wasn't interested in being a star per se, as we see our hero men.
Yeah.
That his hero was Lon Chaney. That he wanted to be a character actor, wanted to be a famously, well, he didn't say famously, but recognized for his portrayal of characters. So there you go. You were saying, why is he such a character? That's kind of a goal.
Kinda, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, he's brilliant,
Though
totally.
he's adorable. And let's talk about Edward Scissorhand, my favorite guy.
Yes, that was a good one. But yeah, just so brilliant. I mean, he's got a 3 double sixes, double nines. So he's got this huge amount of energy up in the mind, the creative energy. 6 is a number of creativity, creative expression. But obviously relationships aren't his forte because
Maybe those. Oh, you said double 6, not triple 6.
double 6 and double nines.
Little devil.
Yeah, he's yeah. So anyway, that explains it. I wanted to touch on him because there are a lot of Johnny Depp fans out there, and if you want to know why he's he beats to the rhythm of a different drum, that's why. He's not your typical birth chart at all. Okay, so I guess it's not this week. Today's the 7th, so 5 days from now is Pythagorean Theorem Day. So I guess there are certain dates of the year that are considered Pythagorean Theorem days, because if the day, this is why they call it that. If the day, month, and year form a solution of the Pythagorean theorem for right angle triangles, then it's called the Pythagorean Theorem Day. So because numerology and it's a number show, I thought I'd bring up the fact that May 12th is Pythagorean Theorem Day. And so it would be 12 and 5. And so the squares of 12 and 5 equal the square of 13, which is the year. So that's why. So it's a little quirky little fact for you. And so I'm going into the word of the day because, of course, let me get my book. The Energy of Words, of course, my book. So I'm going to always do a segment on the word of the day. And I thought I'd pick joy because it's 5. And Carrie, you're a 5, right? So I thought I'd match up the word of the day with our guest today. And the word joy, adding to 5. 5 is the number of the heart and emotions. It represents freedom of expression. And, of course, when we think of joy, it's that erratic, free-flowing, over-the-top, joyful energy. So it really resonates with that heartfelt, emotional, freedom of expression energy. So try to incorporate that word today into your vocabulary, joy, because we all need a little bit more joy in our lives. And I love this quote by John Templeton. To get joy, we must give it, and to keep joy, we must scatter it. So that's my word of the day. Use it. Feel free to. It's the number 5. So when you're saying joy, it's all about emotion and heart-centered stuff. So I guess, Carrie, there's one other thing I wanted to ask you, because I want to add in a relationship section to the show every week. And I want to get your take, because, I mean, you have such an incredible story of meeting all these great people and being involved with them in various ways throughout your life. So you've had your fair share of relationship stuff going on. So I guess I want to ask you, what has been your greatest relationship challenge thus far, whether it be friends, family, or intimate relationships, in terms of, is there a common theme that shows up for you, or is there a common challenge, or are there certain people that always seem to come into your life that bring the same challenge, that kind of thing? I'll start you off.
You could have emailed me that last
Well,
night.
I'll
I could have slept on that one a little bit. But I do agree that we have attractions
Yes.
that other people don't. That
To patterns, right?
Yeah, through our life, there's some people that I might always connect or
Yes.
have an attraction to that somebody else, a friend, might say, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't feel the thing. But that's the whole deal, isn't it? Like from pheromones to,
Yes.
creative energies that connect. Why are you and I? Why did
Exactly.
we, out of all the people that
Exactly.
I have had interviews with regarding Uppercut, that we should still be like we just saw each other yesterday, and it's been a
Exactly.
while. It's been almost a year. Well, as far as challenges, I believe that the most important relationship you can have is finding yourself and your own heartbeat, and having a relationship with yourself that you honor. And I just tweeted today, if you want someone to like you for who you are, be who you are,
Yes.
So many times we put on a facade when we meet people, or we're this or we're that, and then we get with them a little longer, and then we start relaxing, and then, hi, I'm myself now. Well,
Yeah.
send back the other guy. That's the guy that I like. What is this?
Exactly.
So I think it's very important to really grasp your own truths, and then you will attract the correct relationships in your life,
It's so
because
true.
you're representing really how you feel, rather than stuffing a feeling. We all need restraint of tongue and pen, for sure, in any relationship, and especially on the street with our horns,
Yeah.
and or to the temptation to text while we're driving. But a relationship is a mutual agreement. And I think when you have a relationship that is a mutual agreement, that is a level of communication. I have relationships with people where I have disagreements, and I just have more acceptance than I have connection. I can love them
Yes.
without the need for them to love me back, or to be appropriately how I want them to be, or responsible. I can allow them their
Yes.
character defects and still love them. And
Yes.
it's kind of a lighter and a love that exists, for sure. But a real connection with someone is where it is equal, and where it is balanced, where it is mutual. Not always what you receive is what you give, but I think the equality of
Yes.
give and take is essential.
Yes.
As you know, I have a relationship with a lot of numbers in between. We're different
Yes.
ages. He's younger than me. And what I bring to his table is a lot, and what he brings to me is very different, but a lot.
Yes.
And I actually, another thing I tweeted today, I like to tweet a couple of little philosophies out in the morning. It's kind
I
of
love
my
those.
prayer and
I love your
meditation.
stuff,
I just
yeah.
dump and unload on you,
It's really good
cyberspace.
stuff. It's good
And
stuff,
thank
though.
you.
Yeah.
And I said, the sun and the moon share the sky.
I love that.
And that is the balance that we need in relationships.
That is such a good quote for the sake. I love it.
Thank
So perfect. And, the fact that you're bringing up this whole self-love thing. And
Except
being,
in
and
Sweden,
being-
I think they don't share there. I think the sun has more time.
Exactly.
But then the night has more time, doesn't it? Then it gets dark forever.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
but
know.
like you were saying, the quality, right? It's like they both bring something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's so perfect.
One gives to another, but it doesn't need to be the same,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Leave it to Miss Carrie White to give us the deep. I really do love your quotes, though. By the way,
Thank
every
you.
time I go on your wall, there's always something that just resonates with me. Something that just stands out, because you really do have a way with words. By the way, I think,
Thank you.
and I think I did write that in your book, because I gave you the book copies, and or did I? No, I didn't. Not yet.
You will.
I will give
I'm
them to
not
you.
leaving till
But I
get
did.
it.
I wrote that in there. I said you were an artist with both hair and words, because it's so true. Your book is just.
Thank you.
You're a gifted writer.
I think we paint with words.
You do. You do paint with words. You do, for sure. You're one of those writers that just comes naturally. Whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or in a book. So I definitely have to say
Thank
that,
you,
because it
sweetheart.
just you're the 5, the number of the artist anyway. So definitely you carry that artistic
It's
skill.
all art to me.
Yeah.
Even it's not my forte, accounting or numbers particularly, but there's an art
yes.
to math.
Uh-huh.
There's an art to, gardening. There's an art to many things. I think, words, and I like to write, and I started out with poetry because it was,
Yes.
it was brief. And but I think I have a feeling about people. I think I have a sense with people, which maybe hairdressing, I don't know what came first, but I knew in hairdressing that it I was going to be more successful if I could find a common denominator with people rather than look what annoys me or what I like about them.
Yes.
Because those things wear out, you know, or separate. But if you find a common denominator with someone, you know, you look for the similarities rather than the differences.
Yes.
You can find agreement in there, you
Yes.
know. And so there's an art to that, by the way.
I love that. But it's such a good way to look at things, that there's an
Sometimes
art to
that's
everything.
challenging to find
But
a common
that's
denominator.
beautiful, kind of, in a way, to say that there's an art to everything, because then you can appreciate people who are doing those various things. You know, you can see that it's special.
I paint.
yeah.
I had scholarships to Art Center in Chenards, and I would have people that would say, "Oh, I can't draw," or "I'm not an artist." I'm like, "Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
You might not like it,
Mm-hmm.
but you are. Everybody can draw.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
it could be funny looking, but
That would be me.
I love children's drawings with their oddity and, you know,
Yeah.
just crazy kind of angles and perceptions. And, you
Yeah.
know, if you put them next to a Picasso, sometimes have their
Just as good.
similarities.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
I've seen
look,
that.
her eye is on her nose.
Yeah. Totally. All right. So, Carrie, I have to read your bio because, well, I know you, so it's not as shock and awe to me as it was when I first met you. I thought, wow, this woman has been around the world and then some. So, you're a hairstylist, of course, and you have been for 45 years. Is that right? Wow. I swear Carrie doesn't age. If you've noticed how beautiful she is, she does not age, and I'm trying desperately to find your secret, but she will not give it to me.
I hang by my ankles.
Probably. Okay, so 45-year career, and she styled everyone from Elvis Presley, Anne Margaret to Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt. Her work has appeared in Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, In Style, Allure, Vanity Fair, Ladies' Home Journal, Mademoiselle, and Glamour. And get this, she's the mother of 5, and she owns and operates Carrie White Hair in Beverly Hills. But she has such a backstory, let me tell you. We're going to talk a little bit about that backstory. And she's got the book, which is Uppercut, Highlights of My Hollywood Life, and it's published by Simon & Schuster, and is endorsed by Jackie Collins, Vidal Sassoon, David Steinberg, and Publishers Weekly. Wow, girl. So it debuted, I didn't know this, it debuted at number 8 on the Los Angeles Times bestseller list and is now an international bestseller from England to Australia. Carrie is also a published poet, Huffington Post blogger, keynote speaker for large and small audiences, inspiring many subjects from hairdressing, recovery, and social media. Now that's a combo, but a great one because she's really good at all of that. Trust me. Yeah, wow. So Carrie, can you tell everyone about why you wrote the book? Oh, of course, I mean, it's magnificent and it's all about your life, but what triggered you to write the book? Was there at some point when you said, I need to put this into paper. I need to write this story.
I started writing in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
I just celebrated 30 years of sobriety. I got sober in 1984.
Wow, that is like...
It's unbelievable. That is a long time in between margaritas, folks. Cinco de Mayo. Not like I even thought like, oh, it's Cinco de Cuatro. I mean, like the day before. You're like anyway, and I hadn't opened my mail for almost 6 years, let alone brush my hair or teeth.
Wow.
So I lost my license to hairdressing. I had had a very celebrated career before I got sober, and I drowned it and burned it up in drugs and alcohol. And so the subtext of my story is also the progression of alcoholism.
Yes.
Both my parents died of this disease.
Wow.
And
I
have a heart that wants to take the shame out of it. It's slowly happening. Thank you, Betty Ford, for really establishing that it's a equal opportunity illness and that people get it coming out of the White House as well as coming out of, you know, the Mission downtown in Skid Row.
Yeah.
And no one ever beats it. we can only put it into remission. But my original course of my book was because so many people, once I had to take my license over again, which, you know, going to Vidal Sassoon's beauty school after a huge career
Yes.
and starting over and getting your license,
Yeah.
and people there, and I had been a guest on Vidal's television show with he
Wow.
and his wife Beverly, and people that I was in school with didn't even know he had a television show, you know. Felt like when
They're
I
like
spoke,
20.
dust came out. I felt so antiquated. And anyway, so then so I wanted to start writing about what it was like, because when I was doing hair at the age of the people that were just coming in, there was no such thing as the internet, which
Yes.
people could hardly wrap their head around today, let alone credit cards. So only
yes.
only the elite could travel. And I
Yes.
would pull on the sleeves of my clients. You know, I was like a kid right out of high school, and I had all these fancy people like Betsy Bloomingdale, and I'd say, like, what's it like in Paris? Because we didn't know. We didn't have the level of knowledge that is just so available at our fingertips today. And you could not say, I'm going to Paris and I'll pay you next month. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Charge it. They say, get off that plane. You're going nowhere, sister. Anyway, and I came from humble background, and I was now being taken to all these places, London, Paris, and India, through hairdressing. So I kind of wanted to salute the magical carpet of hairdressing and how it had, you know, really given me a life I never would have dreamed available. And I left algebra because they wouldn't tell me what the X and the Y was. So I put myself through beauty school, actually being a waitress at Bob's Big Boy. And so anyway, I wanted to talk to the hairdressers coming in. That was my original kind of the heart of my book. And then people kept saying, well, who did you work for? And how did you get started? And they kept backing up. And eventually it was Born on Burton Way, which is a little street in Beverly Hills. And then I was uprooted and derailed. My kind of life that had been prepared for me was now just all changed because of my father left when I was like 2 and 3. And I was like almost 3 years old. And I started mixing drinks for my mother and her boyfriends when I was 5. And by the time I was 6, she married one, and he took us from Beverly Hills, Burton Way, and I was out in Pacoima, which is like a very rough neighborhood, and learning how to speak Spanish, and just when I was getting a handle on Rosewood Elementary. So I didn't know anything about hair, but I knew that when I saw all these pachucos and all this action going on, if I could get my hair like them, then I could blend in. So hair kind of was a stream for me, a thread, like you were talking about the connections of relationships. I had a relationship with hair long before I was a hairdresser, and I was never in a beauty salon until I was a hairdresser. And then when my mother came back after I had been in gangs and foster homes, and it's, you know, I always say my book is kind of like Forrest Gump meets Boogie Nights, but it's a wild one. It's not for the weak at heart. The first 15 pages are very rough, but if I live through it, you can read through it. Anyway, so then she brought me back to Hollywood High. She came and took me out of this foster home, and she decided she was going to get her life back together. And all I knew is, like, if I could get my hair like those girls at Hollywood High into that flip, I could survive here. So it was kind of a survival mechanism to, you know, I could see it as a structure of blending in and getting in. And then somebody asked me to model for them in beauty school, and I'm like, you can go to school and learn how to do your hair? I just did it from an imitation of watching. My mother never went to a beauty salon. So I just always have been kind of like, you talk about the joy and being a number 5, somewhere where people may have gone down through a background that I had. Mine was like, I already had a bad time, let me out of here. And
Yeah.
I was looking forward all the time. And I think there are natures of pessimists and optimists, and I had a best friend that was a cutter and always wanting to kill herself. And people say, "How can you hang out with Carrie? She's so like over the moon." And he says, "I want to see what she's so excited about." My friend said, "What she's so happy about all the time." And I just was always, and still am, just happy to be here. Somehow, I think it's a nature. I think people have natures.
Yeah.
As
I
they have
truly do.
numbers, and the numbers don't lie.
No, no. I mean, you're kind of the optimist, really, because I mean, 5 is that joy energy, right? It's that over the top, emotional, high kind of energy.
You know that book that says the days you were born on.
Yes.
That one. I'm the optimist and the exhibition. Am I the exhibition? The extrovert. You know,
oh yeah. So 5s are the freedom of expression numbers. So definitely, yeah.
I don't know. I just a funny nature. So anyway, so the book kept backing up, and of course the bottom line became, the subtext of alcoholism and its progression. And both my parents died of this disease, and then so the subtlety nature of it is to take the shame out of alcoholism. And how I survive this alcoholism is a one day at a time. I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
Just for today.
Yes.
I don't think of anything in a forever kind of way. I did drugs and alcohol that way, one day at a time. Yesterday's drink wasn't working today. I needed another one today. And so today I need another positive input of why I need to be restored to sanity, that a drink and a drug isn't a good idea for someone like me who never gets enough, who creates this allergy and this obsession and physical allergy. That, I tell people, I say, I can't drink. I break out in spots like Puerto Rico and Cuba and Paris.
That's
Saint-Tropez.
That's hilarious. But yeah, your book is like, wow. I mean, I remember when you sent me the copy, and I thought, oh, this looks like an interesting book. I'm sure it's all about her, Hollywood life and styling all the celebrities' hair. And like you say, the first 15 pages, they throw you right into the book. And I had no idea. I guess I can't say I didn't have any idea, because I did read a little bit about you, but to read the book is to like step into your life. And, you write it from a perspective where I was right there with you. I was along for the journey, and it was really, really great. I mean, just looking at my own life and the struggles that I've been through, and kind of saying I see myself in some of that,
Thank
and
you.
it was just it was so raw and real, and I think people could learn a lot, even if you haven't been touched by drugs or alcohol abuse or anything like that, or the Hollywood life doesn't really appeal to you. Trust me, this is nothing even close to what you think it is. It's such, to me, it's a story of authenticity. It really is.
Thank
It's
you.
it's a very authentic.
I wanted to take you with me. I
You
wanted
did.
to share on a level of you being as excited as I was when Priscilla Presley asked me if I would cut her husband's hair. Oh, Elvis? Oh, let me think about it. Yes. But that doesn't make me an authority on Elvis. I will share my experience with you. And, well, we all have fears. I think the alcoholic is an extreme version of many emotions,
Yes.
of insecurities, of just perspective is off. We all can have those things. So the benefit, and I didn't write about the last 25 years of my sobriety, so that will be book 2. I will talk more about that. But the truth is, on the other side of our hurdles is where we build our spiritual muscles, just like no one develops muscles picking up feathers at the gym. The bigger the weight, the better shape we get in,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
And so I learned that we never know the point of the exercise.
Yes.
And I wanted my life to unfold with you, the reader, to see that no one being presented with 4 options says, oh, let me pick the worst choice here in life.
Yes.
Let me make the worst turn here because I need to be somewhere at 12. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like it's not a design to choose the worst choice, yet they make sense to us at the time, and that's the one that we choose, and we learn from those things. Hopefully our past will teach us, because if somebody says, well, what happened to you, and you say, I don't know, I say, well, who else can we ask? Aren't
Yeah.
you the one with the answer?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and we need to know, or they will happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, wise Carrie.
I'm also Arrested Development, believe me. I still dance till 5 if I can.
Well, that you're 5. You're allowed. Now, let me see. You know, it was one of those days, I tell you, from the parking thing. I was now I'm still a little bit discombobulated, so bear with me. I wanted to say, Carrie, I was looking at this sheet about your book, and People Magazine. Wow, New York Times. I really didn't know this about your book. So if you want to reach Carrie, she's the social media queen, so you can reach her on. So Twitter is Carrie Whitehair. Let me see, Facebook. You changed your Facebook, though, right?
You know,
Carrie?
they asked me, I was Carrie White Hairdresser, which Carrie White Hairdresser is my Instagram
Yes.
um,
Okay.
tag.
Yes.
And but there's a lot of Carrie Whites. In fact, I had a problem branding myself, and why I ended up taking a social media class by Beverly Macy at UCLA was to learn what was the best route for me. Because of Carrie, the movie, and her name
Yes.
was Carrie White, and you know,
Oh, that's
she was
right.
actually, I'm told, named after me, because in the 70s my name was like in neon lights, and the writer came. Stephen King used to come into one of my hairdressers used to have his hair cut by Vern, and he told me that he liked my name. So there you go. So Sissy Spacek actually said to me, finally, I meet the real Carrie White.
No.
Yeah. And I still do
That's too
Nancy
funny.
Allen. She's a good friend of mine
Yes.
who was in the original Carrie. But anyway, so Carrie was coming out on stage in the film right at the same time my book was coming out, and it was Carrie White, Carrie White. So I just put Carrie White Hairdresser for, you know, my Facebook, and then they had me remove it. They said I was advertising hairdressing.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Facebook is like that.
So there you go. But I do have a Carrie White author hairdresser page, which
Okay.
is a good one to connect into and updates. And then you can follow me just as Carrie White. You'll see my
Yes, you
picture.
can't miss her. She's beautiful. So
Well,
she's the
thank you
pretty
so
one,
much.
the pretty Carrie. And then your website is thecarriewhite.com.
Right. That's
So-
a Tumblr, and that's fun.
Yes, and so yeah, get her book, check her out. We're gonna keep talking though because I got to keep track of the time. John, keep me on track because we had last
Should we do
week.
the 11-11s?
Let's do the 11-11. But first, I want to ask you because everybody, you know,
Oh,
people out
okay.
there in cyberspace or whoever are listening or watching, who was your favorite celebrity in terms of the hair?
I always say, I can't say that.
Oh, come on now.
That's a secret under the bed.
I mean, to do their hair. I mean, who was one of your faves in terms of the hair and the styling and the?
You know, I love Sandra Bullock. She is so down to earth and is a lot of fun and a terrific, inspiring human being. I love Anne Margaret. I love a lot of Julie Christie. It's hard to say who's my favorite because everybody is unique in their own way, and same for you know. I did a lot of good-looking men did their hair from Warren Beatty
I was
to,
slow to catch that
to
one.
Brad Pitt. I say, oh, I did, yeah. But I'll tell you who put me in shambles was Marlon Brando. I don't know what kind of pheromones and connection was going on there, but I was glad I had skin so I didn't just turn into a puddle. Yeah, he's got that thing going on. People ask me, they say, is this a tell-all book? And I always say, this is my first book, not my last book.
Yeah.
I tell enough on myself to get you going.
Yes. Was there anybody who had really fun hair to do, to play with, like maybe Elvis? I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing it out there.
Everybody was such an individual for me. And in those days, by the way, unlike today where people are all trying to look the same and it's such a homogenized package deal,
Yes.
can't you be like Britney Spears or Lady Gaga or Madonna, or there's like this thread line of, sound. You need to sound more like, Taylor Swift. You knew who Jimi Hendrix was from Otis Redding. Aretha Franklin, did not sound like Tina Turner. People
Yes.
were far more individuals, and so were their hair styles, their looks. Julie Christie didn't look like Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn,
Yeah, that's so true, because
yeah,
everybody's cookie cutter now.
now it's like, I need extensions like, and I
Yeah.
need the ombre, and
Uh-huh.
make the curls go like, and
Yeah.
everybody's got short hair. It wasn't like that. It was like, that was a negative.
That was their
You
signature
needed
style.
to
Yeah.
be different.
Yeah.
Back even with models, the success of Twiggy was because she didn't look like the girl we all connected to, Jean Shrimpton.
Yes.
And Jean Shrimpton was a success because she didn't look like the ladylike, like the Susie Parker, and there was a history of it. And even, Beverly Johnson, who was one of the first black models in Vogue, but she did not look like a black model I worked with before that, Danielle Luna. And, so people, their personalities and all that stuff was just so much more of an individual.
Yeah,
You
authenticity.
couldn't pick who's your favorite out of, what's your favorite egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they just, being an
They all had
individual
something.
was
Yeah.
a higher stock than she's a better version of the Beatles, The Beatles and the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
They were apples and oranges, they were the bad boys, the Stones, and and then there was like David Bowie did not look like Lou Reed, but they came in together, and there was the whose side are you gonna be on almost?
Yeah.
That's how we operated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really can't pick, and I'm not being
Oh, no.
politically correct.
Yeah,
I
no.
really, my heart is, I had different experiences with all these people. I could say who annoyed me, but I won't. Who was the worst one? We could go there, but
We
not
better
today.
not, Carrie.
Yeah. Call me on your last show.
All right. Okay, I will. All right. So, John, now keep me on track here. We've got like 5 minutes or so. Is that?
You got plenty because we're going to go over.
Oh, okay. Phew.
No,
All right.
John.
Because I was late. So we're gonna continue on a little bit more. So, Carrie, let's talk about 11/11, because Carrie and I have this 11/11 thing, and it's the 11/11 Club. And we're 11/11 sisters. We see it everywhere. But truthfully, I haven't seen it in a little while. There's this break. And for me, it seems to go like an ebb and a flow, because it's like I'll see it before something big is coming, and then it will fade away for a little bit, and then it comes back full force. And so I'm in the lull right now. So I'm hoping to see it because I need something to shift for me. So I don't know if that works that way with you, with the 11/11, seeing it and stuff like that. But seems to me that that's how it works for at least me. I don't know if anybody else has had the same experience, but tell me about your 11/11 stuff. I know did you write about it in the book? I can't remember if you did.
No, I did
But you
write about
said-
numerology.
Yes, you did, but you said, I think you told me specifically after the fact about the 11.
Well, after
Yeah,
the fact,
yeah.
because now I started writing my book on stenopads, by the way, because people did not have personal computers.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I paid someone, as I read my stenopads, and they put it into my computer. And then
wow.
finally I broke into the fear of the computer and started writing myself. And for 3 years before I realized there's such a thing as spell check, I was holding a dictionary. But anyway, some quicker than others. But so I finished my book in 2009. And when I finished my book, I leaped out of my chair. I knew when the moment had happened. Now, I've been writing and stopping writing and writing and stopping writing, and then I stopped and I studied in a writing class, Jack Grapes, for 2 years, and then I started all over with from scratch, and my everything I had written prior to that became like flashcards. And I worked with someone named Chuan Choi, who is an exquisite poet and writer himself, and he was like my coach. And so we wrote for a while, and then I had to cut. I had written too much, and by the time I had come to the end of this book, I knew at the moment, and I leaped out of my chair, and I, by myself in the dark of night, and said, "I'm done. Oh my God, I am serious. I am really done. What's the date?" And I went to my calendar. "Oh, November 11th. 11/11!" And I screamed,
Wow.
and scared the cat.
And then 2009 too was 9 and 2 is 11.
Yeah, is another 11.
Mm.
It took me 11 days to compose an email that I sent to the editor, to the agent
Yes.
of my choice. She got back to me she got back to me December 22nd. That's 11/11, the 22.
Yes.
And said that she would, in fact, and that's Lynn Nesbitt, who is Janklow, and Nesbitt is just the dream agency of America, maybe even international, and said that she herself would like to try to sell my book. I'm like, are you kidding? If she picks up the phone, people listen. It goes straight to the top. I was so excited. And then she said, I will send you papers. We're going on vacation until January 5th, but then I'll send you our agent papers. And then she called me a week after the 5th, which was January 11th, and said, did you get the papers? I said, no, but I'm going to my business manager's office today. There they were. I signed my papers January 11th. February 11th, 30 days later, she called me with a deal for Atria Books, which is a division of Simon & Schuster. February 11th, that we had a deal.
Wow.
And that's how it began. And then I had to cut, and I worked with an editor, a beautiful editor at Atria Books. She is the editor, Greer Hendricks. And she and the publisher, Judith Kerr, and Paul Lewinsky, I decided after a year of cutting and everything, I would go back and visit New York, and I had never met them in person. We had had phone conversations and back and forth, and I wanted to connect and have lunch with my agent, who I'd never really, sat down with. She hadn't been to. So I said, let me see when it would work out. I looked at my schedule at work, and it was like around the second week of November that it worked out, not thinking anything. The only time that the publisher and the editor and the PR from Atria Books could meet with me was Thursday, November 11th, 11/11, 2010. And then the publisher, Judith Kerr, love her, happened to know all about 11/11 and emailed me something that was happening a year later in Mexico, this huge world meditation of 11/11/11. And the hits just keep on coming, and I'm constantly connected to 11/11.
Mm-hmm.
And I sponsor a lot of people in a 12-step program, and I was all full up recently, and this girl, somebody came up with this girl, and they said, oh, you need to sponsor her. You need to sponsor her. And I was like, oh, geez, I have so many newcomers. I really can. It's a huge commitment for me. And the girl said, oh, please. And she put out her arm. What do you think she had tattooed on her arm? 11/11. I said, well, I guess I'm sponsoring you. Come on in. Literally had 11/11 tattooed on her arm.
Like this?
Bigger.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that
amazing.
huge?
Uh-huh.
So, yes.
It's like once you're in the loop, it never leaves you.
It doesn't. And once you get connected to it and contact,
Yeah.
like I have friends, I have a boyfriend who's connected to it now. He sees it, and I'm like, make a wish, 11/11, or,
Exactly.
he just kind of chuckles.
You're in the club.
Yeah, in the club. And my agent who said, oh, Carrie, you and your you and your 1111. My book was going to come out in 2012, and I sent her this big long email of all my 1111 stories just around my book.
Yes.
And she said, Carrie, you're in Hollywood. We're in New York. Like, please. And then she called me back an hour later, and she said, I don't know what happened, but they want your book to come out in 2011, not 2012.
Of course.
And that paperback is going to come out in 2015.
Wow.
I don't know what that totals to. I haven't done it yet.
You don't know the exact day, though, right?
No.
No.
No, I will find out and get back to you.
Yeah. I bet you it's something to do with 11.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Wow. Well, I love it because I love 1111. So it's no surprise to me because when I hear stories like that, people think, "Oh, that's just crazy. That can't be." But
it's crazy, but
it does. It happens all the time.
I didn't invent this or say, "Oh, I'm going to take 11 days to write this email." It just happened that it did. And why would she call me 11 days and 11? It's like almost gets me dizzy.
I think it proves that everything is energetic patterns. Really, I mean, it boils down to that.
You can't deny it.
No.
You can't deny it. I did in my salon quickly. Years ago I did oh gosh, I lost the word. Anyway, who works for me under a certain astrology sign to find out everybody's sign, and then who the majority of their clients were a particular sign. My clients who worked for me were particular. You couldn't argue with that, and people can look in the newspaper and see how it's registered, how the planet, which is 2/3 water, is regulated by the moon. It shows how the tide goes in and out, and that has to do with the moon. Aren't we 98% water?
Something
Why
like
wouldn't
that.
all that have a power and electricity and an impact on us?
It does.
Who I'm attracted to, in my life. I say my challenges are Aquarian.
5 minutes? Okay, I got the sign. Did we get any callers, by the way, or any chatters or anything? I don't know. You guys have chat, don't you? Oh, you do. All right. So, Carrie, I guess it's hit or miss. Like the first show, I got a bunch of callers, and most people are like, "Celebrity stylist, I can't call in." Everybody else is waiting for everybody to call in, right? Okay. So let me just go over that again. Anyone who wants to contact Carrie, so it's thecarriewhite.com, and Twitter is Carrie White Hair, and then Facebook you said was Carrie White.
Hairdresser /author.
/author, okay. And then Instagram is Carrie White Hairdresser.
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 No, Carrie White Hairdresser.
Yes. And my publicist is making me say this, of course. Roz, I will say it for you. I just have to mention I have an event tomorrow. It's a gallery reading and meditation night at 6:30 at the Elysium Healing Arts and Massage at 2907 West Olive Avenue in Burbank. So if you want to come, have your numbers read, come and see me. I'd love to see you. So let's give a big thank you to Carrie for coming on. It's always a pleasure. I can't believe the hour's already gone. Yay. Carrie, I mean, I could sit here and talk to you for hours and hours and hours.
Thank you so much.
So interesting. Get the book. Please get the book. I am telling you, this is one of the most magnificent books I have ever read. It's so raw and real, and I love that kind of stuff. I mean, she just...
60 photographs, too.
Yeah. I mean,
Rare photographs.
It's beautiful. It's hardcover, gorgeous book, gorgeous story. It's so authentic. I mean, you really will be taken along for the journey, and you won't be able to put it down. I guarantee you that. So thank you, Carrie. You'll have to come back again.
Thank you, yes.
I love you to death.
Love that. All right,
so
darling.
we're wrapping up now. Tune in next week. I don't have a guest lined up just yet, so I'm just kind of winging it. But do tune in. Same time, same place. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to Life by the Numbers with celebrity numerologist Michelle Arbeau. Broadcast on UBN Radio from the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood. Tune in every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific for all things numbers and so much more. We're out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.